Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Deckin Around Kickstarter Edition. Today, we're going to be taking a look at any decks that have funded in the past 7 days, any decks that are new to Kickstarter in the past week, and anything that's going to be ending its round of funding in this next 7 days. But before we jump into it, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel.
And please ring the bell.
And let's take a quick word from our sponsor.
Hummingbird feathers mimics the shimmer of a hummingbird in motion. Meticulously created with a specialized printing process using multiple holographic foils. Stunning tuck design and sculpted embossing with master letterpress creation. Featuring limited, standard, and gilded 3-deck sets. Pre-order yours today at marvelousdecks.com.
So Steve, I gotta say, we got about 13 new decks this week, and I feel like that's about an average number now. I feel like 10 to 13 seems to be the new norm, but it still seems like such a large amount of new decks.
Yeah, I mean, we've hit upwards of 19, 20, so 13 sounds like a good day.
Yeah, I just feel like when we started this all, it was probably around like 6 or 8 a week, so it's definitely been a pretty significant increase, but hopefully we got some good ones this week.
Yeah, I'm praying, bro.
Let's take a look. So first off, congratulations to the Umbra playing cards, inspired by Norse mythology.
Jody Eklund.
Yeah, congratulations to 5 Elements playing cards, wooden collection set.
Funded it.
Collection. Congratulations to 12 Days of Christmas playing cards, USPCC deck idea. Congratulations to Lux Hominem playing cards, Phoenix campaign. Congratulations to the Tale of the Tempest playing cards.
Crushing it.
Congratulations to the Dystopian deck, which will have funded by the time this airs. Congratulations to the Shadows playing cards Suppression Awareness deck, which will also have funded by the time this airs. And ending in the upcoming week, we have the Gender Equatable and Sustainable playing cards by Spielkopf. Balloon playing cards, the BPC. The Empires playing cards. Mysteries and Secrets playing cards marked for Magic. Love Letter playing cards for cardistry. Le Bellissime.
Nice.
Cocktail cards, 52 classic cocktail recipe deck. Love Without Borders playing cards. The 2020 playing card deck. Harlequin playing cards. Dex Yellow Diamond playing cards, which these guys have actually made a pretty significant update to their campaign as well since we last reviewed it, so check it out. The Queen Bee Luxury playing cards. The Stringer Arts Limited Edition playing card deck. The Boreal playing cards. The Atlantis playing cards by Riffle Shuffle. The Harmony Back playing cards from Arcadia playing cards. So let's take a look at the newest decks this week. First up, we have the I Survived 2020 commemorative playing cards. Man, that's a pretty significant goal for a single deck from what we can see so far. First red flag to me. You've sucked and we won't miss you. All right. 52 weeks, 52 cards.
What's Veil?
I do not know. 20 has affected many of us in different ways. 10% of all profits will go to the Black Dog Institute, a not-for-profit institute based in Australia, which focuses on mental health research and support. All right, so at least a good cause going to.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Well, I thought you couldn't do that in Kickstarter.
Technically, you can't. It is against the rules, so if Kickstarter sees it, they will shut down a campaign, but I guess unless someone reports it, it's a non-issue, I guess, to some extent.
Hopefully they don't report it.
Yeah. Printed and fulfilled by MPC.
That's cool.
Offset printed, M32 master quality cardstock, linen air finish, and black core. The linen air is the one that has a minimum print run, correct?
I think it's 1,000, right?
Yeah, so obviously they're doing a pretty significant, and they're looking to do a limited edition as well. So that might justify a little bit more that 12,000 goal.
M31, yeah, and it's a totally different deck. It's not like they're just taking that deck and gilding it.
Yeah.
It's on
The M30,
totally
yeah,
different
different stock.
Interesting. Why would they do that?
I don't know. That means you got to do a whole nother print run. That is an interesting choice. Uh,
Hmm.
Perfect 4. We're not for everyone, but we might just be right for. Interesting.
Interesting.
It's got a it's definitely got a unique touch to it. I have to say, and we always discuss these campaigns that say, "Hey, we're
Yeah.
for cardistry, magicians, and collectors," and we all know that no decks, very few decks, hit all three of those well. This is an interesting take to kind of define their audience to be people other than who you would expect. It's kind of a unique approach. We're pricing for offset printing, so you get retail quality print. There's high setup cost involved. Yeah, because it's so this is interesting, yeah, because usually MPC is not offset printing. Usually it's digital printing. So that's where
Right.
we're going to see a significant cost increase there. And that's why a lot of times somewhere like USPCC or Cardamundi might be a better option when you're starting to look at doing more costly procedures. Let's see what we're looking at price point wise here. Oof.
$36.
Yeah, that's a hefty hit for a deck. So let's see what the limited edition is then. I'm scared. $66. So that's an extremely high price point for a first off deck, especially because it's somewhat of a gimmicky deck. Like I think that's a high price
The
point.
gold, that's the silver one, right?
Um
Because the gold one is 73.
Interesting. Yes, that's
Yeah.
That's a significantly high goal, all things or price per deck, considering what's in the campaign here. I think they did a good job
Wow.
putting together the campaign. I think the marketing approach of it was actually spot on. They did a good job getting you to think about who this deck would be for, who it would be beneficial for, and maybe not just buying it for yourself, but buying it for someone else. I think that was awesome. I like the fact that they touched on who would be printing and fulfilling right out the jump. Talked about the not for profit aspect of it as well. But I think ultimately those prices are extremely high for what you're getting here.
Especially.
Yeah, I mean,
Especially since there's no pictures of the deck. Like there's like a couple pictures and you can't even see it, but it looks like if you in that third picture where it says unique designs for each card right
yeah,
there, that it looks like they're going by weeks. Like maybe if you look, it says weeks, and I don't know if there's like specific instances that happen throughout the year that are on the cards because there's like it looks like a boat on the 10 of clubs.
yeah.
So I don't. I'd like to know what that all means and what cards are in there, based on certain situations that happen throughout
So
the
there you
year or
go.
what's
Each
the
each card carries an original design in minimalistic black and white, uniquely representing a major world event from that week of the year. So
yeah.
your instinct there is
I'd like
correct.
to see more
Yeah,
of what's on there.
and agreed. I think the bare bones of any campaign are who's printing it, who's fulfilling it, what's the price point, and what does the deck actually look like. And I think for you to be missing one of those core pillars makes it difficult to say whether or not you'd back this because you don't know what you're necessarily getting. Definitely something to consider there. Again, the other point though, the price point of this is so high that without seeing the cards, even with seeing the cards, I think it's tough to be able to say whether or not this would be something we'd back, but I think there's definitely a lot of legroom there to work on it. We do see this being a recurring theme with 2020 being a interesting year for the world as a whole. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the last deck we see with this theme. It surely isn't the first, but we definitely want to see more of the deck in order to make, a decision as to whether or not you'd back this.
Yeah, and I mean just for future recommendations for this deck. I think it would have been a lot smarter to maybe do a limited run, say 1,000, and then guild a certain amount of those. Where you're not doing two different runs. It'd be a lot more cost efficient if you did it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, and it looks like the limited are going to be digitally printed versus offset, so there will be some reduction in cost there, but you're still adding a whole nother print run to it, which is an interesting choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck.
Guys, make sure to stick around till the end of the show. Find out which decks Steve and I will be backing this week.
Heck yeah.
All right, let's see. Next up, we have the Mothman and Other Cryptids of North America playing cards.
Cryptid theme.
Interesting.
Is Mothman like a known character or?
The Mothman prophecies. I remember a movie based on that, but I don't know if it's like an urban legend or what.
Yeah, it looks like it is. I still recall reports about the chupacabra for surfer. Yeah, interesting.
Huh, very cool.
Interesting.
Um, Low goal, guessing a small print run, maybe print to order depending on who's going to be printing it. The one thing I will say though too is like to me, it's showing that the deck isn't fully fleshed out here. You have no pictures. There's a lot of question marks as to what the diamonds, clubs, spades are going to be representing as. The one thing I would say is to me, as a potential backer, this immediately shows that this hasn't been fully fleshed out.
Yeah.
I like the premise, but I think knowing more about the deck from the jump is going to make people more comfortable with the idea of backing it. Yeah. So let's see.
Yeah, I mean, I think that ace is really cool. I don't know if it's an ace of hearts, an ace of spades,
It
whatever it
is
is.
the Ace of Hearts.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a heart, but it doesn't have anything, and it's not colored.
Yeah.
Color I would think a hearts would be colored. So, um, I would definitely like to have the suit on that card so I can know what it is.
Yeah. Oof. Price point is $25. So, and again, being a small print run, obviously there's going to be a higher cost to it, but I'm not seeing who's going to be
That's the
printing.
early bird too, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, jeez. That's the super early bird.
The early bird, it doesn't even look like they have non-early bird.
Yeah, it doesn't appear to. So then the
Two
regular early bird is 30. So it may be one of
two
the,
decks is 52.
yeah, that's a lot. So this is definitely a
Yeah.
high price point, this one. Also, and I know this is something that Kickstarter offers where you can have the early birds in the future be replaced with non-early birds, and that may be what they're doing here. I always advise against that. I think it's better to have all the potential tiers from the jump. The reason being you actually show the value being saved by backing an early bird versus backing a non-early bird. Helps drive a little bit
Right.
of motivation early on to get people onto the campaign. But I just think this campaign, all things considered, and even this deck potentially, is just in a very early planning stage that may not have actually been ready for Kickstarter. I think that a lot more of the artwork needs to be completed and visible before people are going to be willing to jump into this campaign.
Right.
But I think people who enjoy, cryptids and these kind of, Mothman prophecy kind of deal are actually going to enjoy this deck. The artwork looks cool. It looks fun. The cards themselves look interesting. I'd want to see though who's going to be printing, who's going to be fulfilling as well, especially with the $500 goal. Are these going to be
Right.
shuffled ink? Are they going to be MPC? Are they going to be Zazzle? Who's going to be the small printer that you go with on this? And then trying to bring that price point down, I think, is going to be crucial on this one. So best of luck
Good
on
luck.
it. Looks like you're already funded, so congratulations. But if you want to really bring in a larger following to it, I think having more images from the jump would be extremely beneficial.
Yeah.
All right, next.
Tyler, I agree. 100%.
I appreciate that, Steve. Next up, we have the Liquidus playing cards. A borderless deck of fine playing cards. So, printed by Cardamundi. Nice to see that's in the subtitle. I already have an issue, though, with the subtitle because this is a bordered deck. It's just a broken bordered deck. It is not a borderless deck, in fact. That being said, that's kind of that is a distinction there. There is a difference between a borderless deck where the pattern goes to the edge of the border versus a border being incorporated and the pattern breaking through. I dig the abstract style of this. I definitely think it's got a cardistry vibe to it with the broken borders. Probably some really good fanning elements to it.
Yeah.
Cool. Tells the little story about it. Um, so here's my thing with this. It just doesn't set a very cohesive vibe with the story into the deck itself. I'd like to see a little bit more of the cards, especially because they look to be unique. They look to be drawn individually.
It's cool. Yeah, it's a cool card. I actually like the the pip on that king of spades.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not bad, but I think showing more of it because it is a fully custom deck in theory, it's worthwhile
Right.
showing it off, even if it's just a single picture with all of the cards visible there, to give it a little bit more of a vision to it. I also don't know how I necessarily feel about the support this project paragraph in general. The reason being,
Right.
the idea is you're supposed to be kind of, I don't want to say selling your idea, but you're eliciting people to back your project. And I think while support this project is a good idea, it comes off more of a asking for donation than a asking for support in backing the project itself.
Right.
We usually don't see these, or if we do, they're much lower in the campaign, and I think that would probably have been the better option there. And then going right into the story, into design and quality, to be very honest there. Let's see. Because I have to choose to print the cards with Cardamundi. Awesome that you're printing with Cardamundi. I'm a big fan of their stock. That being said, I would have liked to see which stock as well. I think some of the small details that I still have a pretty significant impact are missing there here. So we know you're printing with Cardamundi. Who's fulfilling? Which stock are you going to be using? Because that does make a difference. Some people love B9 Slimline and hate B9. Yeah, I think you do a good job showing it off. I would suggest being a cardistry oriented deck, having some like motion shots, whether it be a pressure fan or some packet cuts, things like that to kind of show off the skill of it. Otherwise, I think, it's got a really nice vibe to it. I like the fact that it is a fully custom deck because usually you don't see that with cardistry decks. And then the price point. So $32.
$32.
Yeah. So
Whoa.
yeah, so this is a $16-17 ship deck, best case. On the shipping price there being almost the price of the deck, I'm guessing that this is going to be self-fulfilled. If that's the case, I highly encourage you to look into a fulfillment service, whether it be Gambler's Warehouse, Murphy's, Art of Play, 52 Wonders if you're in Europe, Joku Playing Cards now does fulfillment as well. There's a lot of different options there that you can kind of reach out to help bring your shipping costs down significantly, which would get this into a more reasonable price point. Again, though, that even that $18 price point I think is high. You look at Fontaine's, which have a following, that are selling a deck at $15. That makes it difficult to come out and say that this is an $18 deck, whether you like the style or not. I think if this thing was 18 shipped, different story.
Yeah.
32 is a high price point, though.
Yeah, definitely.
So, Oscar, good luck, man. It's a cool looking deck. I dig the vibe. I love the colors. Definitely consider looking into some fulfillment options. Get that information up there and get up the stock as well. Good luck. Next up, we have the Satanic playing cards.
Satanic.
Funded.
Hey. Wow.
Yeah, by Adam Cardone. Good job, Adam.
Does he have a following? He must have a following.
I mean, this is endorsed by the Church of Satan. So.
There you go.
Yeah. Hundreds of years, Devil's Picture Book is a phrase used to demonize a simple tool. Used in a simple game of chance. We feel the phrase immaculate, endorsed by the Church of Satan. Hey, I mean, listen, I think this is, I dig the artwork on this, I'm not gonna lie. It's very, kind of comic book-esque, but I dig it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely funky.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what any of it, I don't know what any of it means. Interesting they have Kali. Huh. I don't know how I feel about that. But, let me see.
Interesting. So I'd definitely say more pictures of the deck, not just the highlights. It's obviously a fully custom deck, but let's see it through and through. What do the number cards look like? I think is a big one for me. Is it standard number cards with custom courts? Is it custom across the board? What do the pips look like? All of that. The back design's interesting. That bright pink is really eye-catching. What are we looking at here? $24 ship. So what I did not see is who's going to be printing the deck.
Well, it says the metallic ink is going to be in cold foil.
That doesn't make sense. On the back design.
Yeah, the ultraviolet right there. Yeah, ultraviolet pink sulfur symbols will be in
Cold
metallic
foil.
cold foil.
Okay. So likely not USPCC, potentially Cardamundi, or a handful of other
Printed by
printers.
Legends.
Ah, there you go. Okay.
Yeah, interesting.
So the one thing I would say is definitely get that information more visible. Talk about who's going to be fulfilling as well. There we go. Printed by Legends. Yeah, I'd say bring this up a little bit far. I don't know. Maybe the font size is what's throwing me off. It's just very big.
Yeah, because it is up at the top,
Yeah, it's
kind
just,
of, right?
but it's kind of like buried in. I think if the font size was a little bit smaller, you wouldn't get these like broken borders here or these broken lines
Yeah,
for some of the lines that's breaking up the consistency of it. I think a smaller font would be fine. It's very much a large font, and I don't know if that's intended. Whereas, like honestly, something a little bit bigger than the subtitles of the images is perfectly fine.
yeah.
Um,
12 to 14 would be key. That's for sure.
yeah, I think the price point though is a little bit high. This is, yeah, I guess with metallic foil on the back, printed by Legends, this is going towards more of a specific audience, plus maybe potentially a collector's deck. I'd say somewhere around that like 20, 22 point, 24 if you really dig it, I think is fine.
Yeah,
You factor in that foil on it. It's gonna have foil on the back of every card. It's something there.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I mean, foil's expensive.
Yeah, but the one thing I think really what I'd love to see is the idea of what the number cards are going to be. You know, I think that's the biggest thing missing from this is the visibility into more of the deck. But
Yeah, I'd like to know why they picked the cards that they did. I mean, obviously, I understand Lucifer. Satan, the King of Clubs, kind of looks like the creature from the Blue Lagoon. But I'd like to know why they picked like Kali. You know?
yeah,
Yeah. Anyway, good luck. Looks like they already funded, so they crushed.
yeah. Good luck, guys. I think, yeah, good size backers as well. So best of luck to you. Next up, we have the WH Classic Blue playing cards. So this is from WH Decks. They've just started advertising this on their on their Instagram as well. I know. Let's see. WH Classic Blue is a minimalist and elegant deck produced by WH Decks. Good choice for collectors and playing card aficionados.
This
So,
deck just really reminds me of the Dan and Dave Smoke and Mirror deck with anyone.
I mean, that's just because it's a plain back with a mirrored symbol, I guess.
Yeah, just that's the card I think of when I look at it. I think it's cool. I think it's a cool.
I like the
design.
color. I'd say the one thing that stands out to me initially, though, a good choice for collectors and playing card aficionados. Like to me, this is definitely a cardistry deck. They even kind of mention in it that they have cardistry in mind when designing this. I would call it a cardistry deck. Put in
Right.
collectors and card aficionados. Like card aficionados is fine. I wouldn't say this qualifies as a collector's deck probably, only because I think a lot of collectors are looking for things like fully custom courts, foil, embossing, and along those lines, you know?
Right.
But I think immediately jumping into it as a cardistry deck is spot on. Gives a definition of what a cardistry is. I think that's important because not everyone who's coming across this is going to be a cardist. You got the visuals out the jump showing the deck in use. I think it looks good. After producing, we felt we need to create more decks. I enjoy the fact that they include like the color, like
Palette.
yeah, for the deck, which I think is really cool. Like for the blue they used, which is interesting. And I like that
Cool.
and that they replaced one pip on each card with that blue.
Yeah, I think they did a good job. I mean, I kind of dig their decks. I think they do a good job at just kind of spicing things up a little bit. Not going overboard with design, still staying pretty. Not so detailed. They're very. I guess classy is a good word for me. They're very clean and
Yeah, it's minimalist. It's minimalist for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's a good looking deck. Printed by USPCC. Paper will be standard. Okay, so standard stock. So you're basically looking at a bicycle non-crushed. Oh no, so it will be crushed. Okay. So two things on that then. If it's going to be crushed, then your print run's definitely going to have to be $2,500. Or 2,500 decks.
2,500 decks.
Yeah. Just because that's the minimum now. Also, the one thing that stands out to me is this is, I'm assuming, supposed to be the funding, and the deck will have a retail cost of $15. The funding goal is $5,000. Definitely double check all the text just for a spell check thing, or even like that you're picking the right word there. If you do have someone who you can kick it off of before you go live, just to kind of run through and see if they do pick up any of these spelling errors, it's always a good idea. Love to see that you put who's going to be fulfilling there as well, going with gamblers, shows the imagery right on it. I think it's a good use of the logo there. Yeah.
Yeah, they did a good job.
Oh, well done. And what are we looking at price-wise? Bam, there we go. 17 shipped, yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. I think, honestly, like, we just talked about this with the previous deck. If you're going to be looking to be a cardistry deck, you want to have those price points spot on. You want to make sure that you're at a sub 20 point shipped, because in reality, you can get big name brand decks for that 15 to 20 plus shipping point. So going above and beyond what someone would spend on a well-known brand is a very tough thing to actually successfully pull off. So good luck, guys. I think you did a great job with the design on this, and the price point seems spot on. So good luck.
Yeah.
Next,
I mean, it really makes a big difference if you can, pull a fulfillment house in the United States for shipping within the United States. It really does help a campaign.
Absolutely. So next up, we have the number 7 playing cards, limited, from Montenzi Design. So the interesting thing about this, and I love the simplicity of the title, is I would say in the subtitle, add colors to your life. This is a perfect spot to just say, like, printed by, Yeah. Montenzi obviously has a significant amount of successful campaigns under their belt. They do a phenomenal job with building it out. I think the tagline, though, add colors to your life, is so fun, especially with such a vibrant deck. So each deck is limited to 350 to 600 decks in each color. Has the funding goal progress. Interesting. Nice additions. And I love the fact that it's not just a recolor of the same design. They are 4 different kind of back designs, which is really cool. So then if you prefer
350 so there's 350 to 600 of each color.
Yes.
WJPC, gotcha.
Yeah. So depending on, what color you prefer, burgundy, teal, or orange, alpine honey, as they call it, you have obviously options there. It's a good looking deck, and it's definitely got some good visuals. This is a borderless deck, by the way. Circling back to the idea between broken borders versus borderless, this is a borderless deck.
I love that name, Alpine Honey.
Yeah.
Such a cool.
Yeah. And some really interesting, fully custom courts here as well. They look really great. Yeah, looks good.
Yeah, limited, unlimited stretch goals.
So, and like Steve mentioned, this is going to be printed by WJPC. And I like the fact that they talk about why they chose WJPC, which I think is always a good idea when you're going with an option other than either USPCC or Cardamundi, because people do get leery of new names in the printing industry. WJPC actually makes some great decks, but not everyone may be familiar with them. So it's worthwhile to touch on why you decided to go with them. I think that's awesome. And what are we looking at price point wise? One deck is $19 shipped. So you're literally under the price point of some of the decks we've seen today for something that is going to be fully custom, beautifully done, handle phenomenally, and look great. So, yeah. Good luck, Montenzi.
Does a great job.
Yeah. I think the campaign is well put together. I think there's a lot of images, which some of them may be a little redundant, but I think it's nice to see how much custom artwork there is in this. So
Right.
it already crushed the goal. So good luck, Montenzi. Next up, we have the Election 2020 playing cards.
Good lord.
Interesting. So each card is a state, and they're showing the voter percentages. This seems like a strange concept to me, because I feel like you're not going to appeal to everyone, clearly, you know?
Right.
You've already taken a relatively niche market, saying just the United States, because I'm excluding most European people who may not be interested in this theme, and then I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to restrict it even further by making it specific to each state's votes. And so if you were on the losing side in that state or in the country, you're not going to want this deck. It's an interesting premise. Very patriotic.
It's creative.
Yeah.
It's definitely creative.
Yeah. Definitely colorful.
One-way back design.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's an interesting deck. I don't know if I missed it there, but I don't see printed by anywhere or fulfillment. What are we looking at price point? But $20 shipped.
Yeah.
So, and again, I think that $20 mark is a high price point for something like this. But with that in mind, if you like the deck, it's not bad. It's still cheaper than some of the decks we've seen today. So, 1,500 gold makes me believe that it'll probably be a lesser known printer. But I'd say putting the printer and the fulfillment on here would be a big selling point, because you get more people excited if this is a USPCC deck versus printed by Zazzle. And I think this is, one of the good points here too, why you should always put a printer, is if you are a lesser known designer, or this is your first time creating a campaign and you don't have your printer there, I may love your artwork, but under the fear of it being printed by Zazzle, who makes terrible cards, I won't back it because they're going to feel like garbage. Nothing against Zazzle, just stating facts. So, best of luck on this one. I think, honestly, price point's fine, but definitely put in who the printer and who's going to be fulfilling, and good luck with the campaign.
Yeah. Good luck.
Next, we have the Bicycle Stronghold Mmxx playing cards printed by USPCC. That is a mouthful. Well, and you know what? Playingcards.net created a ton of decks. They're very well known for creating custom playing cards, especially bicycle decks. Mmxx.
This is Gamblers.
Yeah. Playingcards.net is Gamblers. So, That being said, get rid of the printed by USPCC in the title. It's redundant, and it doesn't necessarily provide any extra information, especially when you then say printed by USPCC in the subtitle. I'd say that the title's just long with what it is. Bicycle Stronghold, Mmxx playing cards. Done. I think that would have been the perfect title. It would have gotten the name out. It's a long name, but it's fine. Medieval theme with a modern twist, exquisite design with all the embellishments, printed by USPCC, distributed by GW. Perfect. We know who's going to be fulfilling this one. I would die if it was someone other than Gambler's Warehouse, but considering this is a Gambler's Warehouse deck, they will be fulfilling most likely. But let's check this out. I dig the red and blue theme, obviously very traditional, especially for a bicycle deck. Tells a good story. Proud to present the latest creation by Shapeshifters, a deck designed with care and a deep respect for traditional playing cards, but with a modern and elegant twist. Interesting court cards. I dig the fact that it's going to be all metallic ink on the back. It's going to be really a good-looking deck, all things considered. It kind of gives off, like, I don't know, for some reason the vibe to me on this one is very, like, Sleeping Beauty Disney-esque. Like, the artwork itself has that kind of feel to it, the way it's drawn.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, like if you're into Disney looking, things, this is kind of a Disney-esque deck. I think it's really cool. 2 extra gap cards. Show a nice diptych with elaborate and detailed elements. Cool. Dude, yeah, not a bad looking deck. Printed by USPCC, bicycle branded. metallic inks on cards and tucks. All right, so let's see what the price point is. So
$12, dude.
yeah, $12 shipped with metallic ink. Can't go and foil on the inside. Like,
that's a steal.
Yeah, I mean, even if you're not a bicycle branded deck person, even if you're not, yeah, that's a hell of a price point. So yeah, good on them. Good on Gamblers for this one. Yeah, that's phenomenal. And I'm sure let's see how they're doing. They've already crushed their goal here, over 50%. So nice. Good luck, Gamblers. Good luck playing cards.net, and keep it up. No, I think they did a really good job with this campaign. So nicely done.
I'm surprised it actually hasn't funded more. I mean, they have 25 days to go, which is plenty of time. I think they'll do a lot better. It's a good job.
Yeah, and maybe that's just a matter of pushing it more on social media. Getting more visibility on it. I think being a big name, they probably rely on the visibility of their brand, but it never hurts to use your social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, and get the word out there. But yeah, Good luck. Next up, we have the Hamsa deck by Paul Richardson, printed by Hansen Chen Productions Company. Perfect.
Nice.
And a lot of times, Hansen Chen also does fulfillment. We'll see what the fulfillment's going to be on this one, but I think it's great that the deck title and subtitles utilized properly to use the printer right in there. You know who's going to be printing it from the jump. Goes right into the story, shows off the deck a little bit, which I think is really cool. Gives the meaning behind the name of the deck. Only 1,000+ decks will be printed. Fully custom marked deck. Deck consists of 56 cards, 40 custom. Cool. 1/2 card.
Looks like fulfilled by Hansen Chen as well.
Yep, printed by Hansen Chen on vintage stock with legendary finish. Now this is definitely well put together. Good visuals of the deck so far. Now that we're getting into it, the back design, perfect. Talks about the pips. And you can see these custom pips. Yeah, it's really interesting. Definitely really interesting to it. Yeah, so fully custom. I like it.
I dig the back design in that Joker card. I really love the Ganesh Joker, and the back design's done well.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks good. Got the quartz here with some familiar faces on it, which is very common.
Hit or miss.
Yeah, I mean, so here's the give and the take of this is the people who are on the cards are gonna appreciate the gesture, get some name visibility behind it, and hopefully get some people kind of pushing the deck for you as well. A lot of times though, too, if you have people who either are not familiar with the people on the court cards, it either has no impact on them or potentially could even have a negative impact depending on the situation. I've seen it go either way. I'm kind of ambivalent when it comes to it. It doesn't have a positive or negative impact for me, but I do think for some people it can detract, especially from custom court cards, especially because there is so much custom work done to this.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for me, I'm on the other side. Like, I don't really want to see specific people on there, Yeah. Especially when there are certain people in our community,
Yeah. The campaign looks solid, though. Paul put a lot of work into getting this all to really show off the deck as best as possible. I think he did a great job with this.
Yeah, I mean, all the pictures are great. I like the different quotes in there, kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do we have here?
So price point, we are looking at one Hamsa deck.
$27.
So usually Hansen Chen is a little bit more shipping wise just because it's coming from Taiwan. Yeah, that hits a pretty high point though, 27. So you're looking at almost $12 shipped for a $15 deck. And again, this is where it gets to be difficult because depending on the print run, depending on where they're shipping from, things can cost extra. The one thing I will say here is being a marked deck adds a little bit more into the design cost. Yeah, it's a high price point, especially considering. Yeah,
I mean, this is a $19 ship deck.
Yeah, I mean, even with the marking in it, and let's see if there was. I didn't notice any mention of metallic inks or foils. It looks like a relatively flat tuck, so probably no embossing. Yeah, I'd say probably around that $19 price point. I still think, listen, it's a very intricate deck. There's a lot of nice work done to it. But that being said, it still needs some of the finer touches to push it over that $20 price point.
Yeah, for sure.
And 27 is still a bit high. Like, I mean, we've seen foiled decks come in around that same price point. So,
Yeah. Good luck, man.
Dude, yeah, good luck, Paul. It's got some good momentum behind it. Hopefully we see some more push on it. Next up, we have the Music Cloth Gold playing cards weaved out of cassette tapes. 100 limited sets of playing cards weaved out of pre-loved cassette tapes and packed in original cassette casing. I like this premise. It seems interesting.
The idea seems really cool. And that, I think looking at that first image is it looks really cool. You look like you have 52 different back designs, which is always fun,
Yeah, I think the problem that immediately jumps...
feel.
Yeah, the thing that immediately jumps out to me is I'm already scrolling down pretty far and there's zero text here. So I've scrolled halfway through the campaign and I know almost nothing about the cards themselves. Looks like standard decks with like some sort of... okay. So limited to 100 sets for collectors only. Gold, silver, and black backs, or faces. It's an interesting premise. I just, the handling is concerning to me. And also, like, the idea that, like, here you go, the cost of music. Like, to me, without any sort of textual context, this is meaningless. It's an image that doesn't have any value unless I know what it's actually trying to convey. And I think that's one of the things that makes it a little more difficult for me to get into this campaign. Also, the price point for an early bird is $113. So, yeah, that's a very expensive deck. I mean, that's more than the carbon fiber decks we've seen come on to Kickstarter. So I think this is it's an interesting idea.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see the process of it. What is it exactly? And maybe it shows it in the video. Like maybe if we click on that video at the top. No, there you go.
Cool. So they weave cassettes together, and then they glue it on the back of playing cards. It was a very quick 9-second video.
That's kind of my interpretation of it.
Yeah. So
interesting.
It's definitely
$100 a deck.
Yeah, $100 a deck. That's the early bird. The standard is $133 a deck. So again, I think there's a lot of questions as to how this is made that might sway people, but I even think this is a cool $20 deck, maybe.
Right.
Depending on how usable they are. I'm assuming, too, based on the look of the gold, the look of the silver, and the look of the black with the blue ink, these are probably plastic decks as well. So...
There's not enough information for us to even know, right?
Yeah, well, and only because like this looks similar. The gold looks similar with the shimmer to some of the plastic decks I've seen in the past.
Yeah,
like the $100 gold deck one. Like the $100 bill deck, not the actual $100 deck. This is the $100 deck. Yeah, I mean, listen, I think it's an interesting idea, but I think there's a lot more information necessary to really make it a viable campaign for someone to back, especially from the card community. So. Good luck. Next up, we have the NOC Playing Cards Luxury Collection from Riffle Shuffle and House of Playing Cards, who has crushed their goal here.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean...
Obviously, both of these companies have huge backings and support, so...
Yeah, definitely powerhouse. Let's see what we got here. Excited to announce the first legendary... collaboration between House Playing Cards and Riffle Shuffle. Riffle Shuffle always knows how to throw their campaigns together. They really do a great job with it. Look at that right there, out the gate. Manufactured meticulously by Cardamundi, featuring their advanced cold foil printing technology on back design with their premium slim line, stock, and B9 true linen finish. That was a mouthful. But glad to see that.
Good job, buddy.
Yeah, I'm glad to see they have it out the gate there of who's going to be printing. If you're a NOC fan, I mean, these are phenomenal looking decks.
I'm a NOC fan.
Yeah, I know you are.
Yeah, I mean, putting these two guys together, you have Riffle Shuffle and House of Playing Cards. They're both very thorough.
Yeah.
So there's definitely going to be as much information as possible, but not overdoing it,
Some of the rewards have a magic course from Pandrea involved, which I think is always phenomenal. Any sort of value you can add in addition to certain tiers always helps sell those tiers, so I think it's a worthwhile effort there.
Right.
Fulfilled by Gamblers. This is always my one complaint with Riffle Shuffle, is I wish they would also mention their fulfillment further up so that you could get all that information in one shot. But that being the only complaint I have there. Let's see what the price point is. Looking at
$15 a deck.
Now, 23 shipped.
For the early birds.
Yeah, early birds are long gone.
Yeah.
23 shipped. So you're looking at something, though, that has fully embossed and foiled tuck, a custom seal, fully foiled back design, fully foiled faces. So this is an expensive deck to produce. So I think that price point is actually really good considering what you're getting for it.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see what those gilded decks are going to look like, but that'll be a nice one. So good luck, guys. Yep. Alex, Kevin, you guys did a great job with this one. Can't wait to see what else Riffle Shuffle and House of Playing Cards collabs on next.
Heck yeah.
And next up we have the South Beach cards. So this is actually a two.
Round two.
This is round two. You can see the differentiation there already. So different tuck design gives it more of a beach theme. You have the colors more so of sand and the ocean there. Let's see what we got here. Cards are marked for suit and value. Very cool. Printed by MPC on their linen stock with their beta finish. Fulfilled by Gamblers. All right. Nice. Shows off the cards there. I still dig the I think it's a triptych he has there with the octopus there.
Octopi.
Yeah.
It's 4.
Is it? I
think so, yeah.
Very cool. 2, yeah, I think it. Yeah, 3. I think no. I think it goes across all the 8s. Yeah, it's across all the 8s, which is so cool. It's a nice little octopus across the 8s because they have 8 arms. It's very clever. I like that. I like that to it. I like the fun summary vibe of all the cards. To be honest, I like that. There's the parrot on the 5 of diamonds, the pineapple and the 2 of diamonds. There was a lot of thought and energy put into this. It's got a fun vibe to it.
Yeah, I think they did a good job. I mean, the first time around, there was a couple things that they needed to change, and they did a good job changing it.
Yeah. Yeah, they were definitely open to feedback, which I think was phenomenal. What are we looking at here, price point-wise? And $17 shipped for a fully custom deck. It's not bad at all.
No.
And the thing is about it, too, this will be interesting to see because this I think is potentially one of the first decks we'll see fully printed with MPC that isn't an MPC deck. Be fun to see what that field looks like. It gives people an opportunity to really run through some of the MPC stock for long-term use. So, nicely done. Good luck, Craig. Next up, we have the Lotus playing cards from Tanner Holloway. An elegant deck of playing cards that is inspired for Magic, cardistry, games, and more. All right. So we're throwing a 4th one into the mix now. Games. Let's introduce to you, Lotus, a custom. All right. For years, I've enjoyed playing cards. I really enjoy all the different uses that they have, whether it is card game, Magic, cardistry, or something else creative for a while. I have dreamed of being able to produce deck cards that I design myself and able to share and just kind of come up with a design that I've enjoyed by Okay. Yeah. So the stories. All right, yeah, mirrored casino style, mirrored deck. Lotus has been really popular lately too. We've seen a lot of Lotus mirrored designs on cards recently. Black back design, kind of a light pink to it, not too bad. I like the recolor on the quartz. Though I think the one thing that would have stood out to me even more so would have been to customize the quartz with a Lotus. to make them a little more tied into the theme of the deck.
Yeah.
I like the Ace of Spades. Brings together the whole package. Cool. All right, so let's see where we're at price point with. $14 shipped.
Yeah, it's a great price.
Yeah.
Let's see. Expert playing card.
Printed by Expert, fulfilled by...
Let's see who it says fulfilled by.
So, oh wait, here we go. Cause a lot of unknowns and could cause delays in shipping either from the printer to me or from me to you. So self-fulfilled.
Yeah.
So the one thing I will caution is depending on, let's see what we got here, 2 for $5. Shipping could end up biting you on this one a little bit. Self-fulfillment is a tough gamble here.
Yeah.
6,300, you could hopefully potentially cover the cost via shipping, but do make sure that you realize that that is one area that is always kind of up in the air. Shippings can be very much hit or miss, especially when you're self-fulfilling. That's why using a third party to fulfill, such as Gamblers or Murphy's or Art of Play, can take some of the guesswork out of it for a fixed cost. So it's something always to consider. Yeah, at a $14 price point, I think you're doing a really good job with this deck. So good luck, Tanner.
All right. I agree.
Yeah, no, good luck, man. And that brings us to the end of this week, Steve.
The end.
What are you backing?
Interesting week. Definitely the NOC, hands down. The NOC. You know, I would have backed the Hamsa, but I'm just not a fan of the court cards being people.
Okay.
I think the Montenzi's cool.
Yeah.
And that's about it for me.
All right. So on my end, I dig the Liquidus, man. I like the look of it. I like the fact that it's a broken border deck. I think it's got a good visual to it. Yeah. Maybe. I definitely dig the Montenzi. Definitely fits in line with what I've seen of his previous decks. I think they look really good. And then, otherwise, yeah, I'm probably backing the NOC deck as well. And it's a small week for me this week, I think. The Montenzi and the NOCs.
We're pretty equal the last couple weeks, huh?
Yeah, man. It's been interesting, especially with a lot of the decks that we've seen out there, just because there's so many decks coming out. It's tough to tell, what's going to be good, what's going to be missing some information. But I do think the one thing that stood out to me this week is there were a lot of high price points. I think anyone who was trying to put out a deck that was relatively standard over $20, take a look at some of the other decks that were out there. I mean, the fact that, that Lotus deck is shipping for $14, says a lot of what you can do depending on how close to your goal you're willing to actually get with some of this stuff. Definitely take a look at price point. I think that's always going to be the biggest factor. You're going to get some diehards who will always back your deck no matter how much you charge for it, but that's going to be a limited pool. You always want to try and get as many people to back your deck as possible, and I think the best way to do that is price point.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That, and find a fulfillment center that is, capable of shipping out for less than what you're going to ship it out for.
Yeah, and there are a lot of them. It's just a matter of doing your research. If anyone's out there thinking about starting up a campaign and they're curious as to who they can use for fulfillment or who they can use for alternative printers, feel free to drop us a line at Deckin Around on Instagram. We're always willing to help out.
Yeah, and definitely leave us some comments in below. Let us know who you guys would choose. We want to know what decks you'd back and what decks you think we're crazy for backing.
Yeah. So thanks everyone for checking out this episode of Deckin Around Kickstarter Edition. Make sure to stick around real quick. We're going to take a quick word from our sponsor here.
Hummingbird feathers mimics the shimmer of a hummingbird in motion. Meticulously created with a specialized printing process using multiple holographic foils. Stunning tuck design and sculpted embossing with master letterpress creation. Featuring limited, standard, and gilded 3-deck sets. Pre-order yours today at marvelousdecks.com.
Thanks so much, guys. Like Steve said, make sure to leave a comment down below with what decks you'd like to back this week. We're always excited to hear about that. Also, thank you so much for watching this episode. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. We drop these Kickstarter recaps every Monday, so check it out.
Peace!